Welcome back on this Wednesday as we continue with Micah chapter 4. We are starting with verse 6. The first 5 verses from yesterday, we remember this. It is that big picture that we have of the final deliverance that comes through Jesus Christ. That also can be tied back at times to what's going on there. So remember, as we look at prophecies, it is something that often is applied then with the physical struggles they're having with, for example, the king of Assyria, but yet it points forward to something greater, that which is happening through Jesus Christ and the promise that we have of life forever and that final deliverance on the last day. Let's continue with verse 6. In that day, declares the Lord, I will assemble the lame and gather those who have been driven away and those whom I have afflicted. And the lame I will make the remnant, and those who were cast off a strong nation. And the Lord will reign over them in Mount Zion from this time forth and forevermore. Let's stop there for now. In that day is a connection back to the beginning of chapter 4. That day, the final day of judgment, but yet also looking at that day of when they would return from exile as well to Jerusalem. So again, it's a double fulfillment that is there. As we look at the first part of, or verse 6 and 7, it talks about the lame and those who have been scattered, those I have afflicted. All of those are really kind of the sheep metaphor, the lame sheep. All of those who are outside the flock, he will bring them back. The call of Jesus, as we hear in the parable of the 99 and 1 sheep, the one that is lost, he will bring them back and restore them to himself. Let's continue with verse 8. And you, O tower of the flock, hill of the daughter of Zion, to you shall it come. The former dominion shall come, the kingship for the daughter of Jerusalem. Again, a reminder of the return to Jerusalem. But when it talks about the former dominion shall come, that is the Davidic kingdom, the Davidic reign. Not that it happened when they returned from exile, but pointing towards something greater. Again, the coming of Jesus, who would reign forever and ever. Jesus coming into Jerusalem and the new Jerusalem that would reign on all the earth. Verse 9. Now why do you cry aloud? Is there no king in you? Has your counselor perished? That pain seized you like a woman in labor? Writhe and groan, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in labor. For now you shall go out from the city and dwell in the open country. You shall go to Babylon. There you shall be rescued. There the Lord will redeem you. This is really showing again what will happen in the exile, possibly as Judah has escaped now Assyria at this point, pointing forward. He's looking forward to something even more painful, exile in Babylon. The Lord would rescue them from the Assyrians. Judah would escape the total destruction brought on by the Assyrians, but yet he would fall in the exile from the Babylonians. But there at the end is that little bit of gospel, that hint of the return. There you shall be rescued, and the Lord will redeem you from the hand of the enemy. Verse 11. Now many nations are assembled against you, saying, let her be defiled, and let our eyes gaze upon Zion. But they do not know the thoughts of the Lord. They do not understand his plan, that he has gathered them as sheaves to a threshing floor. Arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, for I will make you your horn iron, and will make your hooves bronze. You shall beat in pieces many peoples, and they shall devote their grain to the Lord. their wealth to the Lord of the whole earth. The first verse, verse 11, reminds me of Psalm 2. Why do the peoples rage? The nations plot in vain against the Lord and against his anointed. The plan of the nations would be to destroy Zion, to destroy Jerusalem and Judah, God's people. But they don't know that God is using them as an instrument. And at the end, they will be threshed. They will be the ones that God reaps, whether it is the Assyrians who fall in destruction, the Babylonians who fall then into destruction, or the Greeks, whoever was oppressing God's people, they would end up being threshed. They would be punished at the end by the Lord. Now, as it talks about these, it's possible they're talking about Assyria or Babylon, but in the end, all nations opposed to the Lord will fall. All nations will fall, because the Lord is the one who sits on the throne forever. He is the only one who will reign. So as we wrap up this chapter, we see it as a mix of a proclamation against the nations, even against Jerusalem and Judah, Zion, but yet how God would return to them and restore them. Looking forward to the Messiah, but beyond that, to the final victory the Messiah gives for all eternity. Come back tomorrow, and we are looking at one of the most well-known passages in the book of Micah. Stop back, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow.